This is a very interesting video. This is not how I was expecting to spend my day this morning, but one of the things that I love the most about my job is that this is how I spent my day, and this is what I do for a living. This morning, early this morning, I get a phone call from a local gentleman who says he's looking to sell his collection. He needs to, pay down some bills. He had some things come up in his life, didn't really want to sell the collection, but he'd been following the channel. He's local, and it's 7 short boxes of raw books, 4 boxes of slabs. And so we're gonna go through the whole collection in this video and kind of go through it together. We're gonna look at it for the first time. We're gonna price it together. Well, you're gonna watch me price it. And then if this seller accepts my offer, these books will be available for sale on the website where you can buy it in bulk, because there's several different ways to do this. I could take all of these books to Whatnot, pick out the keys, put together shows, and spend a lot of time and energy working with these 7 short boxes on Whatnot, which is also not a bad way to spend your time. I mean, it would definitely be more profitable to do that, to bring all of these to Whatnot myself and sell them all individually. I would get way more money. But the thing is, we are a 2-man operation here, me and my man Marcus over there. Super grateful for Marcus just really adding incredible value to this shop and everything that we do here. But we have limited time. There's only 2 of us. And so I don't think that's a good use of our time right now to sell all of these one by one on Whatnot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put together bulk prices, and if the seller accepts my bulk prices, we'll just be done with it that way. So let's flip this camera around and take a look at the slabs and the raw books in this collection. So these are the slabs of the collection. I actually just calculated the FMVs. The total FMV of all 4 of these boxes is around $4,300. And so 60% of that, which is what I can offer for a collection like this, is about $2,700. These 2 boxes are kind of like less valuable stuff, around the $20 range. And so we're not going to flip through every single one of those. And then these boxes have some decent stuff. And sorry, we're going to do a little different of a format here because we still have the 7 short boxes to get through. So you have some nice stuff like this, ASM 316. I love that Spidey key, ties for the black suit, Kanan, She-Hulk in a 9.0, Amazing Spider-Man 252, black suit. So a lot of Star Wars and Spidey, and some really cool Star Wars books like issues 1, 2, and 3 of Phantom Menace, Star Wars #1 and 8.5, Spectacular Spidey #1, FF 9.8, Godzilla #1 and an 8.0, G.I. Joe in a 9.6. A lower value. This awesome Todd McFarlane on Conan. Star Wars, lots of Star Wars, lots of G.I. Joe. Darth Maul, God, I looked at the value. This was like 26 bucks or something. First cover appearance of Cad Bane. Remember that was all the rage when it first came out. Some cool uncanny covers. This one also was like, I think 40 or 60 bucks or something like that. I remember it being hundreds. Some Wolverine #1, 9.4 and an 8.0 newsstand. I think there's 2 copies of this. This one I was surprised at. Man, this book holds value. Star Wars 68. I was surprised at the value of that one. Marvel Spotlight for Spider-Woman. Some more cool uncanny. Star Wars #9 and a 9.8. Cassian. Some X-Men. Conan, first appearance of Red Sonja in a 7.0. There's another 9.4 Lando, Heir to the Empire #1, New Mutants, Jubilee, another 8.5 newsstand of ASM 316, Thor 6, Uncanny 282, Web of Spider-Man in a 9.8. This one had sales kind of all over the place. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic number 0, and then 2 copies of Star Wars number 2 in the 7.5 with white pages. So we're going to start off with this box here. This is an Amazing Spider-Man box, which is always good to see. So we have Amazing Spider-Man number 328. This is the Todd McFarlane nut punch or gut punch cover. What do you guys think? See, hitting him in the gut or the nuts? Leave a note in the comments. So 2 copies of this. So this is where the first thing, like right off the bat, is you think like, okay, how much is this book worth? Off the top of my head, I'm about to go through 7 short boxes of books. One way to do this is to pull all of the big books, and I will do that. I will pull all the big books, but I know that this is all Amazing Spider-Man. I think we're starting here at 328, so I don't think there's any like big books. I don't think I'm going to set anything aside. The other thing is like, what am I going to do? Bust this out and grade it? I mean, you could see like I'm already overwhelmed. I'm already overwhelmed with valuing this collection, and I'm 1 book in, but we're gonna work through it here. So this book in a 9.8 obviously is a decent book to have, but I would be absolutely shocked if anything in here is a 9.8. These look like really nice books, but this era of book is so difficult to get 9.8s. Just the slightest little thing. They're in boxes like this, you know, for however many decades they've been floating around. There's 2 copies of this. This is a decent book, 325, 323, 322, 320, 319, another 319, another 319. This one's newsstand. I see some spine text. Sometimes when you get like multiples like that, there is a good chance that there might be 9.8s if they're like uncirculated, unread, but these ones I can just already tell are not 9.8s. 317, 318, 315, another 315. First cover appearance of Venom, in my opinion. There he is right there on the cover. It's just not a full cover appearance, and the next issue is just a way better cover, so we go for that as the first cover appearance. 313. All right, so now I can, let me pull out another stack and then I can start flipping through the boxes. So 307, 306, 305, 304, 303, 302, 302, oh, 242. So I didn't even think there was a 300 in this collection. So 242, 334. So now we're getting into some of the higher numbers. So this is interesting. This is a good example of one that I pulled out of the last collection that I have, and I pressed and cleaned it, sent it in for grading. I mean, all of that costs about, I mean, when you factor in time and stuff, like 30 or 40 bucks and shipping both ways. And I did get the 9.8 on a book like this, on this exact book from a previous collection, and then I looked at recent sales and it was like $76, and I had a hard time selling it for 76 bucks. So it's just one of those things when you consider grading books like this, this level is right on the cusp of making it worth it to grade them or not. And when you factor in all the time, I certainly wouldn't grade any of these books. If there was a major key 300 or 316, maybe I would do it. I wouldn't even grade those 315s, to be honest. There was a time, this one, in a 9.8 is worth it. It's definitely not a 9.8, so, not worth sending in my opinion. Wow, that's a cool cover. Look at those eyes. So now we're out of the Amazing Spider-Man run and we're into just a regular Spider-Man series and some mini series here. So all Spider-Man related, but mini series number 26. So if that's the case, what I'm gonna do is pull out the Amazing Spider-Man, because the Amazing Spider-Man definitely demands a premium over like miniseries and other Spider-Man stuff. Spider-Man 21 newsstand. I've always loved this cover. I think it's undervalued. That's always a good one. 2 copies of that. I think worth grading in a 9.8, and this one is one that's I'll check and see if those are worth grading. upside down variant. Number 1, always good. Peter Parker Spectacular. The Spectacular Spider-Man. Incredible Hulk. Oh, so now we're switching to Incredible Hulk in the 300s. I thought this was an all Spidey box, but I was wrong. I love me some Incredible Hulk as well. Incredible Hulk 354. I love this cover, the return of the gray skinned Goliath. That's always fun. And just some other 300-ish issues of Incredible Hulk. There's 272, 141, very rough condition. Oh, look at that, 91, First Abomination. All right, so for this box, we're gonna call this the Spidey Hulk box. And what I just decided to do was I'm gonna bulk these out. So I'm gonna make an offer to the gentleman for the whole lot, and then if he accepts my offer, I will just sell these in bulk lots, because I can sell this. This would be a great box, you know, to take to Whatnot and, you know, list each one individually on Whatnot. When I run my Whatnot shows, I have 2 people. So it's my time and my employees' time, and then we have to sell each individual issue, and then you have to pack and ship, and then Whatnot takes 12%, and then they also have a 30-cent per transaction charge, and so that really adds up when you have the lower value stuff. So it ends up being a little bit more than 12% to sell low value stuff on Whatnot. So, you know, I think for a box like this on Whatnot, I think I could probably pull in like $1,400 out of this box, but it would take a lot of work to get there. And so rather than do that, I would just bulk it out. And so I think, you know, if we were to do, there's 150 books in here. If you were to do $5 per book, some of them are worth much more than $5. Some of them are worth less than $5, but not much less than 5. So 150 times $5 would be 750. So but you know, because you're buying a bulk box, just to make it an even sweeter deal, I would say FMV is, or what I would offer it for sale is $600. And so if I have this and if it's available, it'll be on the website for $600 as the Spidey Hulk box. And then what I can offer the seller for this, let's just say $400. So as you can see, like, this is a great example of how nuanced it is, how difficult it is to price, and you know, just for where I'm at currently with my business. I mean, if I had a bunch of time, I'd rather sell these individually, but I am short on time. So to me, you know, I'm happy with the $200 to handle, you know, everything that goes into this. So that's the Spidey Hulk box. So for this box, it looks like it is kind of a mix, and so we'll go through, I'll put anything that is like, you know, a substantial key on the left here, and we'll just go through the rest. Silver Sable, Axe of Swords, Gwen Stacy, really cool Phil Noto variants, Peter Parker Spider-Man, Spidey Super Stories. This is that Jim Lee cover, right? Is this one of the rare ones? I don't think it's one of the rare ones. I think it's close. There's a Psylocke one that's worth a lot of money. Hulk Smash #1, Marvel's Greatest Comics, a 20 center, Hawk and Dove with a signature on it, Barbara Kessel, it looks like, Marvel's Greatest Comics 41. So Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders #1, 12 center. I don't think that book's super valuable, but it is, you know, a key. Dreadstar #1, it's not worth much. Toxic Crusaders, Journey into Mystery, Fear Itself, a Gold Spidey, always loved that. Awesome foil Fantastic Four, I'm sure it's not worth much. Aliens #1, so this I will definitely have to check and see if it's a first print. Let's take a look. So there are multiple printings of Aliens, and issue #1 is very, very expensive. especially in high grade. This one definitely has a pretty significant spine tick right there. But other than that, it's, so far it looks really nice. Let's look at the back. So that spine tick goes through on the back. It's pretty significant. It doesn't say anything about second print. So I think this is a first print. And because of that spine tick, you know, this is probably like a 9.0. It's a severe spine tick. So I would say like a 9.0. Maybe a 9.2 on its best day. So that's a good one. Spectacular Spider-Man, Miss Marvel. Those are decent. So I'm gonna put these as decent, but not like super key. So that'll be this one too. Decent, but not Aliens 1 level. Hitman, Garth Ennis, trade paperback, Venom Wraith. All right, so now we'll keep it going here. Some random modern Spidey. So nothing much there. Star Trek #1. It's not like a major good one. Marvel Premiere #2. I'd have to look that one up. Robin #1. Last Remains. Werewolf by Night #2. Babylon 5. Cool X-Men cover. Age of Ultron vs. Zombies, Scotty Young. Strangest Sports Stories Ever Told, #9. Mystery in Space, 12th Center. Some Gold Key Looney Tunes and Bugs Bunny. Some Popeye, some Richie Rich. And Casper the Ghost. Millie the Model 164. I would love to get a copy of Millie the Model #1. I would love that. And there's also another issue from that run that I would love to get. Some Wendy, Inspector Gadget, Namor #4, Aliens #2, a little bit rougher shape. Predator, Walking Dead 90, 84, Avengers First Squadron Supreme, Alpha Flight 51, Ghost Rider 8, that's cool, Spawn 310, Marvel Age, Marvel Comics Presents 72, some Mickey Mouse. Wow, that is a cover. Good Lord, what in the world? Is that a deformity? All right, Godzilla #20 looks really nice. Newsstand edition of X-Force #2, the second appearance of Deadpool. Another Werewolf by Night #2. Interesting how he gets multiples like that. I wonder what the story is behind that. First appearance of the Wrecking Crew. That's cool. Remember when that was all the rage? First cover appearance of Grogu. Namor 2. X-Force 4. Power Man and Iron Fist, Incredible Hulk 341, another X-Force 2 Direct Edition, and Power Man and Iron Fist. So, nothing crazy good. I mean, the vast majority of this box is like filler stuff. It is a tight box. There's about 150 books in there. Alright, so Werewolf by Night #2, a 9.0, last sale was 160, but this one, just by looking at the front, is definitely not in that 9.0 range. It's probably like a $30 or $40 book here. This one looks a little nicer, but yeah, let's say a $30 book for each one of these. So that's 30, 60, and then Marvel Premiere #2. So I'm going to start a tally here. So random box number 1, that's what this one's going to be called. The Werewolf by Night number 2, 2 times 30 equals 60. So that's where we're at so far. Marvel Premiere number 2. It's like $60 to $100 in like a 9.0. So 8.0 to 9.0, about 60 to 100. So let's just call it like a $40 book. That's Premiere MP2, it's $40. Now this Aliens number 1 in a 9.0. So this one is about 135 in a 9.0 graded. So let's call that a $90 book. So we'll call that a $90 book here. So this Captain Savage and his Leatherneck Raiders is actually really valuable in super high grade, but this is not super high grade. So I think it's probably like a $25 book. All right, so for these here, let's do, let's say 20 bucks on this, 20 bucks on that. So 40, 60, 80, 2 of these, direct and newsstand, let's say 95, 100, 115, and these say 25, so 130. Wait, that would be 140. So 140 here. So $355 in the polls is what I would think would be like a fair value. Plus you have about 110 other books. Let's say if you were to do, I mean, some of these are decent, but let's just say, you know, there's a lot of Richie Rich and stuff, and let's just say $1 a piece, and there's 120, so that would be $120. So I think like a good fair market value for these would be $475. So I would offer it for $375, and I would pay for it, let's say $250. So I would pay $250 for this box, and I would sell it. It'll be listed if the seller accepts my offer as random box number 1 for $375. All right, so this box we're gonna call random box number 2. And it's starting off with some G.I. Joe, some G.I. Joe special missions, some G.I. Joe from the first series, a bunch from the first series. A photo variant. Definitely not all near mint on these, but some of them are pretty nice. G.I. Joe 7 with a $25 price tag on it. G.I. Joe 5, a $25 price tag on it. G.I. Joe 2, which looks to be about like the fine to very fine. And then we got some G.I. Joe and the Transformers. And then we switch into some Web of Spider-Man. Nice foil cover there. Web of Spider-Man 100. 1, 2, 3 issues of that. Some more Web of Spider-Man. The holographic cover. Some more Web of Spidey. And oops, even got an Indiana Jones number 1. Transformers 67. And then here's a curveball. 2 Punisher number 1s from the first Unlimited series for Punisher. They're nice Mylar bags, and they look to be like near mint copies. So that's definitely a curveball for this one. All right, so for this one, we're gonna call it random box number 2. There's about 80 books in this box. It's not a full short box. If we were to say $3 a book, that would be $240, plus there's about $100 in some of the bigger books in here, a couple of other nice books as well. So if we were to say $340 for the fair market value, I will offer it for $275 if the seller takes my offer, which means for this one I can pay, let's say, $175 for this box. All right, so this box looks to be like a lot of Star Wars, starting with some Star Wars High Republic. Number 1, modern, you got cover A, the variant, and the incentive. And then we have Star Wars High Republic number 2, multiple copies, number 3. You know, assuming these are all near mint, maybe these are worth getting graded. I haven't checked the prices of issue number 1. I think it would be just issue number 1 that would be worth grading at this point. But if it's going to cost you $30 when you factor in shipping and everything, and if it's only worth like 50, you might be better off just selling it raw for 20. You know, then you don't have to worry about the hassle of grading and everything. So a really nice set here for Star Wars High Republic. Multiples, and now we're just going to start flipping. So multiples of 7, multiples of 8, 5 or 6 copies, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 copies of number 8, issue number 9, 2, 4, 5 copies of that, issue number 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, one thing you can do with these is make sets and sell them as sets. Issue number 11, multiples, issue number 12, multiples, 13, 14, 15. All right, so that's it for the High Republic. A huge chunk of Star Wars High Republic. And then we get into Star Wars Darth Vader from whatever volume this is, issue number 6. A whole bunch of those second prints. Star Wars Lando number 2. Star Wars Lando. Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters. Some Star Wars from volume number 1. Which is always cool to see. And some Dark Horse Star Wars. We have Dark Empire Preview, X-Wing Rogue Squadron, some more from volume 1, 7, 8, and 9, which is cool to see. 45, 56, 107. Dark Horse Star Wars Handbook, X-Wing, Star Wars X-Wing Rogue Squadron number 1. So a bunch of Dark Horse and a bunch from the original series, and then this mini series for Return of the Jedi. Looks like the complete mini series. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So some more Dark Horse Star Wars. Volume 1, rough copy of issue 3, rough copy of annual 3, some more Dark Horse, some more issue 1, and then some of the modern Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, the Cassidy series, 7, 8, some more from that series, all the way up to 19 it looks like for that volume. Back to volume number 1. There we go, Star Wars Darth Vader number 1. First appearance of the Black Chrysanthemum, 2 copies of that. Those are nice. Star Wars High Republic Adventures. So, for something like this, Rogue One number 5, and some more Dark Horse. This one's tough. Multiples of Star Wars High Republics, including issues number 1. A bunch of from the first volume. So I think if I took this to Whatnot and sold it all individually, I mean, I think I could get easily around $750 for the box. But there's all of the time and resources that it would take to get that $750 out of it. So, and we're going to call this the Star Wars box. So I think a fair price for this box to offer as a bulk box would be $400. And so for this one I can offer, let's just say $300. Alright, so this box is going to be called Random Box number 3. Starting it off with Venom 25 third print. We got 3, 4, 5 copies of that. Walking Dead 193 square bound. Walking Dead Deluxe number 1. We got 1, 2, 3 of that. Walking Dead Deluxe, different variant there. We got 3 copies of that. Thor 7, 1, 2 different variants for Thor 7, 3 copies of Thor 6, 5 more copies of Thor 6, Thor number 5, first appearance of the Black Winter, issue 4. Just make some nice sets out of this. First preview appearance of Strange Academy and Thor 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. The variant incentive design variant by Nick Klein, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies of Thor number 1. And then here's the variant for Thor 1. Then we get into Immortal Hulk 19. Incredible Hulk Future Imperfect number 2 and number 1. And they look to be really nice. They look like near mint copies, and then Future Imperfect, and then Maestro number 1 with that Incredible Hulk Annual number 1 homage. Some more Maestro. Randomly, a Batman 656, which looks really nice. Looks like a really sharp copy, definitely near mint copy of Batman 656, provided there's nothing going on in the back of that. So that's kind of randomly inserted in there. Batman 92, this awesome Scotty Young cover for Black Cat number 1. There's 2 copies of that, nice Mylar. Negan Lives, we got 4, 5, 6 copies of Negan Lives. Avengers 213, Marvel Tales number 27, a square-bound book. X-Men 18, X-Men number 1, gatefold cover. Special Marvel edition featuring the Mighty Thor number 2. Awesome Doom cover for FF330. Defender 17, 2 copies of that. Guardians of the Galaxy, wow, look at this cover for Guardians of the Galaxy. That's beautiful, newsstand edition. That's great. That is a great cover right there. Daredevil 196 newsstand. Silver Surfer number 75, another awesome foil. Transformers 14, 13, 15. Marvel Tales 132, FF243, Namor number 1 newsstand. And then in the back here we have some Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 10 copies of that. Star Wars The Clone Wars Reader, it says. 223 Avengers Marvel Feature number 1. We have 2 copies of that. Power Man and Iron Fist, minor keys, and Marvel Feature number 4. So a very strange eclectic box here. This is random box number 3. I think the biggest book in here is going to be that Batman 656. I think that's going to be the biggest book in here. I mean, you could eat some of these Transformers are probably $10 or $20. So man, this is a tough one. There's probably only about 100 books in here, I would say, maybe 110. So I think, you know, if you were to put a price of like $4 per book at 110, that'd be 440. I think 440 would be like a decent price for this. So I think 375 would be a great deal, and let's say I can offer 275 for this one. So if he accepts my offer, random box number 3 will be listed for $375. Alright, so this next box is going to be random box number 4, kicking it off with 2 copies here of Amazing Spider-Man 375. So I'm going to make 2 piles here, one for like mid-tier, and then one for keys, and then anything in the boxes, just kind of like bulk. Amazing Spider-Man number 301. Let me go ahead and take this out and see what kind of grade we're working with. So I would say that this is about a 7.5 in its current state. It looks fantastic, but if you take a closer look, there's a lot of finger bends and creasing to the cover. There's not a ton of color breaking spine ticks on the front, but on the back, this is a tough cover on the back because It's all black, and there are, you know, a decent amount of color breaking spine ticks on the back, and then also some creasing and finger bends. So I would say in its current state, it's about a 7.5. Certainly can benefit from a press and clean. And depending on, you know, how well the results are, I think this book would probably tap out at an 8.590 after it's been pressed or cleaned. So we have some Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man number 2. Oh, there's another nice key, Amazing Spider-Man 298. It's interesting, on the back it says 4.5 VG plus, but I don't know if that was for this book or not. It definitely wasn't for this book, because this book is nowhere near a 4.5. It's way nicer than that. Obviously it's not without its defects, spine ticks and stuff, but it's not in that 4 or 5 range. Probably just an old bag. I would say this in its current state is probably around that 8.0 range, and also can probably get a little higher if it's pressed and cleaned. Amazing Spider-Man 374, 293. Always love this Avengers cover. Incredible Hulk 330 newsstand. Sticker says VF near mint, 15 bucks. Todd McFarlane on the Hulk, awesome cover. Then we have Daredevil. I know that's a minor key. Some modern Alien, that Patrick Gleason cover, 4 copies of that. A minor key there for Thor. Cap 277, Cap 272, 344. Marvel Comics Presents 79, 274, 276. Some X-Men. We got X-Men 240, X-Men 239, multiples of that. A run of Berserker here. So we got Berserker 2, 2, 2, 2, Berserker 1, Berserker 2. I think that's an incentive. Berserker 1, the foils. Berserker 1, Berserker 1 third print, 2 copies of that. Some more Berserker 1, some more Berserker 1. So nice little chunk of Berserker. Dune miniseries. I love this book. I actually loved the show on Netflix as well. I think it just went to Netflix. It started somewhere else, but it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 2 copies of 3. So yeah, the full miniseries and 2 copies of 3. Marvel Tales Classic Spider-Man 244. Dazzler, y'all. Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 1. And bonus book on the back. Cap 272 again. X Factor 5, first cameo of Apocalypse. X Factor 19, X Factor 15 newsstand. ASM 362, ASM 362 second print. That's back when second prints were a big deal. Spectacular Spider-Man 139, X-Force 15, X-Force 2, Peter Parker Spectacular 131. We got 1, 2, 3 copies of that, all newsstand. Amazing Spider-Man, that's interesting, a little chunk here of 261. Always loved this cover. Almost missed this, the poly bag. Superman, still in the poly bag. Incredible Hulk 100. In the back here we have some Secret Wars. So we have Secret Wars 2, number 1. These do not look to be in the greatest of condition. Issue 2, issue 2, issue 2, issue 3, issue 4, issue 4, issue 4, issue 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. And then we go to volume 1, number 5, number 6, number 11, 11, 12, 12, newsstand and direct. And then some Marvel Tales, She-Hulk 2, FF 190, or Avengers 197, and FF 173. So, a very strange mix here. So these are definitely the 2 biggest keys from there. Probably about, what, 100 and $100 or so, $120 or so for that. And then you have, I'm gonna put them right here. And then you have about 130 other books. Some of those Berserkers, some Spectacular Spidey, but all, you know, somewhat decent stuff. So if I were to say $5 a book plus 100, and there's 110. So $750. I think, so if we were to say $5 a book and there's 130 books, that would be $650 plus 100 for the bigger keys would be $750. I think, you know, if I were to take these to Whatnot, I could get about $750 out of the entire box. But once again, because of all of the work, I mean, there's just a bunch of Spideys in there and some other stuff, but I don't feel like taking these all to Whatnot. So I think, you know, a good price for the whole thing would be $400, and I can offer $300. So if you're interested in this, this will be random box number 4 for $400. All right, so this will be random box number 5, and it looks like it is heavy on X-Men. So we have X-Men 18, 10, all new X-Men 10, X-Men number 4, first Omega Red, X-Men 315, 314, 313, 312, 3, 4, 5, 6 copies of Uncanny X-Men 312, and it looks like a nice run of Uncanny. So we have 283, 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of that, 282 Bishop keys, 281, I've always loved this cover, for 267, another 283, 257, 253, 252, 250, 249, I've always loved this Jim Lee cover, 248, 247, 247, 246, 246, 245, 243, 242, 241, 241, 2 copies of that, 242. So a nice run here of Uncanny. I'll stop if I get to any. Oh, love that cover, 234. Some multiples. As far as condition, it seems to vary quite a bit. There's some nice ones and then some more mid-grade. 222. 221, first Mr. Sinister. Condition on this looks to be probably in the VF range. I'm just grading on the fly here, guys. Obviously don't have time to grade every single one. 212, great cover. 211, newsstand. 199. So now we're dipping into the 100s. Uncanny 156 Starjammers cover, 149. Now we're getting into some Wolverines here. 1, 2, 3 copies, 4, 5, 6 copies of Wolverine 62, 55, 54. This die cut cover for 50, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 copies of that. Wolverine 49, 48, 46, 45, 44, 43. God, Wolverine just has the best covers. 42, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 copies of 42, multiples of 41, and Wolverine number 2, and number 4. And then we get into some New Mutants, 92, 18, 24. I love the Bill Sienkiewicz covers on this run. Number 3, West Coast Avengers number 1, newsstand, and Wolverine 93. All right, so this is a great box. Lots of Wolverine, lots of X-Men. All right, so if there's about 140 books in there, if we were to say an average of $6 a book, that would be, I think, you know, I think if I took this to Whatnot, I could probably get $840 or more for it. But all the time and expenses to do that, I think a good price for this entire box would be $550, so I can offer $400 to the seller. So if you're interested in this and if he accepted my offer, it'll be available as random box number 5 for $550. All right, so there you have it. We went through the whole collection. At the end of this, I thought, man, I really hope that this guy accepts my offer, because otherwise this is gonna be a totally lame video where I just go through pricing all of this and how much you can buy it for, and then if he said no and came back and picked up the books, how would I spin that for the video? But luckily, when I called him, I said, hey, it's Bry. I spent some time with the collection, and before I even offered, like told him how I broke down, I said, I can offer you $4,864, and he said, I'll take it, like instantly. And before I even broke down like how I got to that number, I think it might have been more than he was expecting. But as you can see in this video, like it's all, I mean, there's not like huge margins on this. I think it's going to be a great deal for everyone. You know, there's a minimal amount of time for me involved. I think the buyers of these books are going to be stoked to get a whole short box. I mean, it's not that often that you can buy a whole short box like the Spidey box. I mean, it's not that often that you find this, and especially to be able to find it from the comfort of your home and just go on my website and click buy and have it shipped. I mean, of course, you can find collections like this out in the wild, but you're working for it, man. If you are interested in these, they are all available on the website at the time of posting this video, and we pack super securely. We take the whole short box, make sure the books are nice and tight in there, put the entire short box into a CGC corrugated box with extra padding, seal that up all nice and tight, and then send it UPS ground, and we never had any problems shipping that way. And these aren't like the type of books that you really need to worry too much about shipping, but we will make sure that they're very securely packed. And at the end of the day, it's just, again, I'm just tickled to death that this is like just a random thing that happened in one day, and I got a video out of it, and you know, made some boxes. It's just tickled to death. Thank you so much for coming along with me for the ride, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like this video for your chance to win a free slab. And head over to bryscomics.com and use code collect10 for 10% off all in-stock items, but not these boxes. I have them priced just without, you know, factoring any discounts. And follow us over on Whatnot. We've got some awesome slab shows coming soon to Whatnot. There's a link in the description for $15 towards your first purchase on Whatnot. And lastly, follow me on Instagram for trades, for grails, and other fresh content over there. Thank you so much for sticking with me to the end of the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Just cut that little part out, making you work today, huh, Marcus? All right.